everyone, welcome back. I'm Miss Lin. It's great to have you here today.
Today we are going to go through 4 basic arithmetic operations involve integers, decimals, and fractions. By the end of today's video, you will be able to add, subtract, multiply, divide integers, decimals, and fractions. Before we start, we need to understand the decimal place value. Every whole number or integer has a decimal point after ones and infinite many zeros after the decimal point. For example, 18 can be written as 18.0000 infinite many zeros. We do normally write it like this. However, it becomes very useful when dividing numbers. The first number to the left to the decimal point is ones. Then we have tens, hundreds, thousands, etc. The first number to the right to the decimal point is tenths, hundredths, etc. Once you are happy about this, you are ready to start. Let's look at integers first. We will use column method to work out the first 3 and bus stop method for the last column. Of course, you can use Farmer's field. However, I'm not going to go through that in this video. The key point about using column method is that you have to make sure your ones and tens are lined up. 18 is actually 10 plus 8. 49 is 40 plus 9. Therefore, 10 and 40 should line up. 8 and 9 should line up. Now we can work out the answer. 8 plus 9 is 17. 7 carry 10. 10 add 40 is 50. Add 10 is 60. Therefore, the answer is 67. Similar with subtraction. 6 and 7 should line up. 5 and 4 should line up. Looking at ones column, 6 subtract 7 is not enough. So we exchange 10 from 50. Now there are 16 ones and 4 tens. Now we can work out the answer. 16 subtract 7 is 9. 40 subtract 40 is 0. Therefore, the answer is 9. This is slightly different. Again, we set out our calculation like this, making sure ones line up, tens line up. Look at the calculation. What is 18 lots of 34? That's 18 lots of 30s and 4s. So when using column method, we first need to multiply 4 by 18. That is trying to work out 18 lots of 4s. 4 times 8 is 32, carry 30. 4 times 10 is 40, that is 70 in total. Now we need to work out 18 lots of 30s. 8 lots of 30 is 240, carry 200. 10 lots of 30 is 300, so that is 500 in total. Therefore, the final answer is 612. So what we are doing here is you first multiply 4 by 8 and 10, and then you multiply 30 by 8 and 10. In the end, you will have to add your answers together. That will give you 612. Division is slightly different. We set out our calculation like this, with the dividend inside and the divisor outside. In hundreds column, we can see 100 lots of 6 is 600. This is too large. So 0 hundreds of 6 goes into 100. In tens column, 10 lots of 6 is 60. 20 lots of 6 is 120. 30 lots of 6 is 180. And that is too large. Therefore, we need 20 lots of 6. That is 2 in the tens column with a remainder of 40. So now we need to see how many 6 can go into 45. 6 lots of 6 is 36. 7 lots of 6 is 42. And 8 lots of 6 is 48. This is too large. So we need 7 lots of 6, which is 42. That gives us a remainder of 3. If you still remember what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, 165 can be written as 165.000 in the end. So if we want to carry on, we need to add a decimal point before we add 0 in the end. Otherwise, we have changed the question. So how many 6 will give us 3.0? That is 3. Since we are in tenths column, 5 tenths of 6, which is a half of 6, will give us 3. Therefore, 165 divided by 6 is 27.5. Now we can apply the same method when working with the decimals. First, we need to make sure ones are lined up, tens are lined up. So we set out our calculation like this. 1.6 can also be written as 1.60. So 0 add 4 is 4, 6 add 8 is 14, carry 1, and 1 add 0 add 1 is 2 with a decimal point. So the answer is 2.44. Subtraction works the same. We need to make sure ones are lined up. Again, 1.6 can be written as 1.60 so that we can line up hundredths column. 2 subtract 0 is 2. 8 subtract 6 is 2. 3 subtract 1 is 2, so the answer is 2.22. With this calculation, if I remove the decimal point, you all know how to work this out. Let's do this one together. 17 lots of 16. 6 times 7 give me 42. 1 times 6, that's 6. Add 4, that is 10. 1 times 7, that gives me 7. 1 times 1, that gives me 1. So when we add them together, that gives us 272. Now here is why sticky sticks is very useful. If 17 times 16 give us 272, what is 17 times 1.6 equals to? Think about if the number of sticks is reduced by 10 times, what happens to the size of the gap they were able to cover? Of course, it's also 10 times smaller, so we have to divide our answer by 10. That will give us 27.2, which is the final answer to 17 times 1.6. When working with decimals, you just need to do one more step. How about these two? 1.7 times 2.6 and 21 times 0.05. Start by working out 17 times 26 and 21 times 5. Think about how your final answer will change. Have a go and see if you can work out the answer. Remember, maths isn't a spectator sport. You can't get better at maths if you are only watching other people doing it. 17 times 26 is 442. If the number of sticks is reduced by 10 times, then we know that the size of the gap is reduced by 10 times. If now the size of the sticks is reduced by 10 times, then the size of the gap is going to reduced by 10 times as well. Therefore, the final answer is 4.42. Similarly, 21 times 5 is 105. If the length of sticks is reduced by 100 times, then the size of the gap is going to reduce by 100 times as well. Therefore, the final answer is 1.05. Going back to division. Division with decimals works exactly the same. 4.26 divided by 3. We can see that there is 1 3 goes into 4, remaining 1. So we need to find how many 3's goes into 1.2. In the tenths column, 4/10ths of 3 goes into 1.2 exactly, and 2/100ths of 3 goes into 6/100ths. So the final answer is 1.42. You can turn this question into 426 divided by 3. You can work out like what we just did. The answer is 142. Now the size of the gap is reduced by 100 times. Therefore, the number of sticks will be reduced by 100, which is 1.42. Have a go at these two questions. You can start by working out 29 divided by 4 and scale your final answer. Or division is actually fraction. You can write 29 divided by 0.4 as 29 over 0.4. We can then multiply the denominator and numerator by 10 to get rid of the decimals. So we will have 290 divided by 4. Then you can use bus stop method to work it out. Similarly, 13.2 divided by 1.5, we can rewrite that as 13.2 over 1.5, and then multiply the denominator and the numerator by 10. We will have 132 over 15. So 13.2 divided by 1.5 is the same as 132 divided by 15. Have a go and see if you can work out the answer. Remember, maths isn't a spectator sport. You can't get better at maths if you are only watching other people doing it. And here is the answer for you to check. Well done if you got it right. Finally, we will talk about fractions. When adding and subtracting fractions, we need to make sure their denominators are the same. For example, in the first question, we needed to rewrite a half as 3 over 6, a third as 2 over 6, and then add them together. So 3 out of 6, add 2 out of 6. This will give us 5 out of 6. So we add the numerators together to find the final answer. When we have a mixed number, we will first need to rewrite it as an improper fraction or top-heavy fraction. We will then need to find the common denominator. In this case, it's 14. So the final answer is 15 over 14. Fraction multiplication and division are much simpler. To multiply fractions, we will need to multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. We start with 6/7. Now I need to find out 2/3 of what I have. As we can see, it's going to be 12 out of 21. You can count the squares to make sure that you are happy with this answer. To divide fractions, we multiply by its reciprocal. So we keep the first fraction the same, change the sign, and flip the second fraction. And the final answer is 36 out of 33, which can be simplified to 12 out of 11.
Okay, this is everything for today. Well done for making it through to the end, especially if you have done the questions yourself. Happy learning, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.